It's Inside the Actors Studio meets Charlie Rose. A new series, Inside the Black Box with Tracey Moore, is getting a buzz in the media, featuring interviews with Scandal star Joe Morton and other top black actors, giving an up-close look at what it's like to be black in Hollywood. But is the experience of being a black actor in Hollywood really all that unique from all those non-black actors in Hollywood? Tracey Moore and show producer Rachel Weintraub are here to discuss. Welcome to you, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I've had a chance to look at these interviews, and
Yes.
they're pretty in-depth. They're very in-depth. How did you come up with the idea for it, and what are you trying to accomplish with it?
Okay, so this is very interesting, and it's a very small world meant to be story.
Yes.
I was consulting for Dr. Dave Colin, who's the co-EP on this project at Premier Networks. And I walked in one day because he wanted to do some TV, and he said, "Rachel, I'd like you to meet Tracey Moore." And she stands up, she goes, "Rachel," and I was
know
like,
you.
"Tracey?" I was a producer at Oxygen back in the day, and it turns out I had cast Tracey on a show.
Yes.
Okay.
And she's, this acting coach who was known for transitioning rappers to actors. And he said, "You guys should talk, because, Tracey has this blog called The Spirited Actor, and she's got this podcast, and she's got thousands of actors who follow her. Let's talk about how we can make TV." So she and I are talking, and it was very clear, Tracey is not a show host. She is not a show host. She is not an actor, but she is smart. And we started talking, and it was very clear that the black actor's point of view, frankly, the black actor's point of view, the black producer's point of view, anybody not white in Hollywood's point of view and experience is different.
Okay.
So we were like, well, how can we turn it into a show without turning her into somebody she is not? And we said, we're just going to let her do her, and we will capture it. And that's really how it happened.
Okay, great.
So the three of us hung out, and we're talking about it. And I'm like, get on the phone and start calling your famous friends, your clients.
Okay, great.
And guess what? Like, she picked up the phone, and they rang, and they answered. And that's how really it came about, the three of us.
Okay, and as Rachel was talking about, you're an acting coach to
Yes.
stars like 50 Cent and also Busta Rhymes. And Rachel, your background is with show production.
Yes.
Yes.
You said Charlie Rose. I came from CBS this morning. So when you said that, I was very excited.
What kinds of things have you witnessed that have resonated with you to make this show feel like it's a real substantive
I know what I've seen as a producer, but what have you seen with the actor?
Well, as an actor, I was coming out of L.A., a restaurant in L.A. with an agent friend of mine, and she had just introduced me to Jamie Foxx, and we were waiting for a car, and this white guy came up, and he walked to Jamie Foxx, and he said, "Listen, you're funny, and I can make you a star. Here's my card." Granted, Jamie Foxx had just won the Oscar a year before for Ray Charles.
Okay.
So we kind of blew it off like, oh, he's kidding. He came back and he said, "I'm serious. If you want to be a star, here's my card, take my card." And at that point, we were just extremely jarred. Like, how could you not know this is Jamie Foxx, Oscar award-winning Jamie Foxx? So that's just one example.
But one thing Tracey said to me in this initial meeting that was really, it was just so interesting. She goes, "Rachel, here's the deal. In terms of like actors of color getting awards," she goes, "we have Denzel." And she goes, "and we just got Viola." I'm like, "Oh, that's true. We just got Octavia." And really, truly, Lee, like that was it. I mean, Shonda has come along, and but Shonda's like multicultural and inclusive of everybody. But I was sitting there, and I was like, I was like, there really is nobody. And then acting, okay, so directing, we have Ava DuVernay, and I'm like, but remember, I was Gayle King's producer, I worked with Whoopi, Sherry Shepherd, I've listened. As a producer, you listen. So I'd heard different stories. For God's sakes, hair, makeup, and wardrobe is a situation that people do not understand for women of color that I have paid attention to. So I knew there was something here. And when my friends heard what we were doing, a lot of them, the first thing they said was, "Why didn't I think of that? Damn, it's so obvious."
Okay, so we had the Oscar so white situation.
Yes.
I'll go with that. Do you think that that's brought about any change?
Wow, we were actually talking about that before.
Yeah.
Say what you...
Honestly, I think that there are changes. I started as a casting director in the late 80s, and so it was black and white. We're in 2017, now the term is ethnically ambiguous. And so there are changes, but they're slow changes. But I think a show like this will give actors who don't get mainstream media, give them a platform to share their stories, their challenges on their journey in being an actor, director, producer.
But we do like white people. Let's be very clear. Like, if Steven Spielberg was making The Color Purple today, Steven, come on, you're more than welcome to be here.
I think that's an issue that I'm really interested in because it's not a zero-sum game.
No.
Right? But do you expect to get any backlash? I think it's interesting that you had to point that out.
It's
Are there
very-
people that see this show and say, well, why do you need a black show? I don't see color.
Right.
Yeah, it's really funny that I don't see color. We have to be correct here. That drives me nuts. I'm colorblind. That is the dumbest thing that somebody could possibly say. The whole goal is this: we have to see people's color differences, and because it matters. We go through life differently. It's not the same thing. Like I have a 10-year-old daughter, and she took me to go see Hidden Figures. It was hilarious. And my brother's kids are black, so she's doing the math in her head, and she realized, oh my God, if like my cousins and I were live, we would be in different bathrooms. I'm like, yes, and this would be different. Yes, we need to point out people's different experiences. To say I am colorblind is crazy. It's crazy, and that's
acting
not
is
smart.
recreating the human experience.
Yes.
And so if we're going to create the human experience, we have to be inclusive of everyone. And so I think that, you know, controversy is great. I think that what this show, and maybe people will say that, but I think the important thing is that, you know, people are going to walk away being inspired, like Joe Morton was a master class.
Right, you told some really great stories about his challenges and not being cast for certain roles.
Right.
On the basis of the color of his skin.
Yeah, and the only way to move the ball forward is for everybody to play.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like our show, it's so funny because people keep saying, how are you different from what James Lipton is doing? I said, oh my God, the only thing the shows have in common is the word acting, you know, inside. I think the word inside. You know, he sits there with a stack of cards, and I love what they do. I mean, who doesn't love what they do? But our show is so comfortable when we're talking about the only, you know, we get crafty for a second, but we're talking about the experience to a point where it's so comfortable. Lee, it will make people uncomfortable. Right. Because in life, you don't get a lot of truth and you don't get a lot of time. And to me, when you're getting so PC, where we're using words like diversity and inclusion, black people that are not white do not say words like diversity and inclusion. They just talk.
Right.
Like Joe Morton, as you saw, he just went to the place. Right. Like he just spoke. And that's when people really start to learn. When you stop worrying about the words you are using, that's when minds are open, and that's when you move forward, and that's why sharing stories matter, and that's what we're going for.
Okay, so you're really out there now. You've gotten a media buzz about showing this to various people. If Hollywood is insensitive and clueless, as you say they are, doesn't that mean that you're going to have a difficult time selling it?
I don't think people are clueless.
No, I don't think they're clueless. I just think that, you know, for people of color, they may not necessarily get the same press, or they may not get the same exposure. And there's an awareness that maybe some people don't have of their work. I think that this is going to bring that to the forefront. And also, we reach from young to, you know, someone like Joe Morton, who has had a career for over 4 decades.
But what Lee said was, do you think you're going to have a hard time selling this? The answer is no. The support has been crazy.
We have great support from the actors. We have great support from the media. So
everyone keeps saying hashtag needed. Hashtag needed. And I was like, oh, I think so too.
Well, the final question is really about demographics. Do you see a disconnect between what is actually being offered in content and the actual demographic growth that you're seeing, the actual expansion of blacks and Hispanics and young people that are watching, that are interested in these series that we're seeing? I mean, Shonda established that. I think she proved that, first of all. So do you think that this could kind of fit in and reach that audience?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I do. I think, you know, most shows that I've produced and most shows that I've worked on, look, I've been very lucky. I worked very hard. I got with a lot of people. I know that something like this now, because the response, the demographics, who's watching, who's buying, people that are not white. People who are spending right now, look at the population. I mean, look who's speaking up now. Even in the climate that we're in, I don't like to talk politics, but look politically. Look at everybody speaking out, speaking up. This is what people are wanting.
I think changes happen when you educate people. And I think through these stories, people are going to be educated about the process, about the challenges that people have, but they still overcome them. And I think you have platforms like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, who are giving more opportunities, more content, and more work, and different types of characters, not your standard characters that, you know, we're used to.
Okay, well, Tracey and Rachel, we look forward to having you back when the show's ahead.
We'll come back, Ray.
Bring me your biggest star.
I want you to come. I want to come to a taping now.
I want to meet Hallie. No, I'm
thinking we can make that happen, Lee.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Lee.